Look, not every Netflix film that premieres at the Venice Film Festival is destined to get the same adoration as, say, Roma or Marriage Story. There was bound to be a stinker eventually. Hey up guys, so today's film that's up for discussion is the latest film from director Steven Soderbergh, and it's the dark comedy, The Laundromat. This film is in a similar vein to the work of Adam McKay. Soderbergh tries to approach the topic of the 2016 Panama Paper Scandal in the same way that Adam McKay did for the early 2000s financial crisis with his film The Big Short. I was completely unaware of this scandal until I found out about this movie. I went online, read the synopsis, and saw that it was about offshore companies that were created to avoid paying taxes, and I thought, ugh, this sounds like a really dull topic for a movie. But then I saw the plethora of A-list talent, which includes Meryl Streep and Gary Oldman, and also is directed by the man that gave us Erin Brockovich and Ocean's 11, so at that point I was on board for whatever Soderbergh had to offer. But The Laundromat was something I found very difficult to enjoy. I mean, it's a tall order to fill to make a film about offshore shell companies the stuff of great entertainment. That's why it has a similar vibe to The Big Short. It's got this self-aware razzle-dazzle, and it breaks the boring stuff down into eccentric, digestible nuggets. And these nuggets are given to us by the unreliable narrators of the film, the disgraced partners of the Panamanian law firm Mossack and Fonseca, who are played in this film by Gary Oldman and Antonio Banderas. It's undeniably quirky, and Gary Oldman and Antonio Banderas give it their all, ridiculous accents included. But my main problem with this film is that it felt more like a crash course in offshore shell companies than it did a film. The plot is practically non-existent. The only narrative strand that has any sort of through line is the one involving Meryl Streep's widowed character, Ellen Martin. Whilst on board a shoreline cruise voyage on Lake George with her husband Joe, who's played by James Cromwell, a rogue wave hits the boat, capsizes it, and this kills 21 people on board, including Joe. After Joe's funeral, Ellen tries to claim some financial settlement for Joe's death, but soon finds that the company that insured the cruise is nothing more than what's known as a shell company. A shell company is essentially a company that exists only in writing. No office, no employees, and because it's just an empty vessel occupying a PO box in the Caribbean, nobody is held accountable for the accident. Meryl Streep manages to find a safe middle ground for the character of Ellen. Her character fits in with the zany world of this film, but manages to ground her in enough reality and make her a plucky and sympathetic protagonist. It's Ellen that's supposed to be the emotional anchor of this film, but writer Scott Z. Burns has a tendency to veer off onto tangents which go on for far too long, and it leaves a little bit of a distance between us and Ellen. There are several subplots in this which overstay their welcome, such as this sequence with a disgruntled father played by Anonzo Anozie, whose daughter, played by Jessica Alain, discovers that he's having an affair with her roommate, who's played by Miracle Washington. As well as this other scene which is all about greed and the harvesting of someone's organs. These scenes serve very little function or purpose, and only deflated the emotional investment that we were supposed to have with the character of Ellen. That's not to say there isn't any fun to be had with The Laundromat. There were a few scenes that did make me chuckle, like one very elaborate death scene involving a bus and a telephone wire. And The Laundromat is also very self-aware. It likes to acknowledge that it knows that it's a film. Because the narrators are breaking the fourth wall, the humour does get very meta and goes as far as calling out the director of the film, Soderbergh. I got the loudest bit of laughter in the screening I was in. The film is also bookended by two staggeringly long tracking shots, which are gloriously done, but also a flashy way for Soderbergh to throw even more exposition at the audience. This film has so much exposition, it is overstuffed with it. In the end, guys, The Laundromat has flashes of brilliance. However, due to the episodic nature of its chapters, and the fact that Burns' script dilly-dallies around in segments that serve very little functionality, the overall feeling of this film is quite wonky and stilted. The marketing likes to draw your attention to its star-studded cast, but the vast majority of its cast are in thankless, here-for-the-paycheck roles. The Laundromat is watchable, but it's so forgettable. It really is just an A-list lemon. Let's ask the big three questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? nah, this is a one-time watch for me. I wouldn't get any joy from rewatching it. Question number 2, do I recommend it for you guys? I mean, there is some fun to be had with it, but I was very unsatisfied watching The Laundromat. I'm gonna say no, save you guys the disappointment that I felt. And question number 3, what score am I gonna give it out of 10? Some entertaining moments, impressive tracking shots, and passable performances don't stop The Laundromat from being a disjointed, unfocused mess. So I'm going to give The Laundromat a score of 3.5 out of 10. There you go, guys. That is my review of The Laundromat. The good news is, if you do want to watch this film, you can catch it on Netflix rather than have to pay for it in the cinema. So yeah, silver linings. But if you have seen The Laundromat, please do let me know what you thought of it. My quick question for you guys today is, what is the worst film that is overstuffed with celebrities? Whatever you think, be sure to let your voices be heard in that comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this review, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to stay up to date on all my reviews for the Venice and Toronto film festivals, be sure to click that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, you can find all those links in that video description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.